to the show, everybody. It's Gods of Gaming with Cammy and Jacob. How you doing, Cammy?
I'm doing pretty good. What about you?
I'm doing great. Having myself a lovely day. It's a big week. Last week was also a big week, but this is a universal big week in terms of gaming. It's Elden Ring week. It's Elden Ring release week.
It is.
Pumped up. I'm really excited to give it a try. It'll be the second time I've day one to From Software game. Last one was Sekiro. Really pumped up about it. I can't wait to see what it's all about and if it's worth the hype. I can't wait to hear Luke complain about frame rates and many other things I never encounter.
No. I don't know if it's up on the channel yet, because I've said many a time I don't actually check the channel. I leave it all to the boys. But he was like complaining about some things in Horizon. And I was like, dude, Horizon is like astounding. Calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Hey, well, he's going at it with a critic mind. Actually, Luke is slacking a little bit. He has not done
slap on the wrist for Lukey boy.
He hasn't done our uploads yet for the news videos. So I guess be prepared. I guess maybe we'll delay this video one day. You guys will see it on Thursday.
Or you'll have a sneak peek that we talk a little bit about Horizon. And Luke's like talks about some texture problems and pacing issues, and I'm sat there like, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, he goes at it with that critique mind where he's like...
He does. He's also much more technically minded than I.
Yeah.
So when he was talking about like the texture things, like after he said it, I noticed it, and I was like, just don't care though. I don't care.
You suspend your disbelief.
My official review of Horizon so far, I'm 15 hours into it. It's a big old 2 thumbs up.
Ayo.
Really fantastic, and it's giving me the same feelings that some of my favorite games have given me, like The Witcher and Red Dead 2, where like the world, I could just spend hours in the world, like just learning the terrain, walking around. I'm not even bothered if I'm not doing a quest. Like just traveling from A to B is entertaining enough for me. So,
well, that's always good.
I really like Horizon a lot.
Well, great. That's good to hear. I've heard, of course, nothing but good things. I've heard people complaining on Twitter. This is an old thing. People complaining about Aloy having peach fuzz on her face because...
I mean, they've gone with realism, but that is the most unrealistic thing.
Yeah.
Because women are like dolphins. We're completely smooth. Naturally, we don't need to shave.
Yes, that's right. All hair, any hair that comes up just falls out immediately.
It doesn't even grow.
Yeah.
We don't use the bathroom. Ever.
Doesn't happen.
No. We're all excellent at making sandwiches. Like.
Yeah. Although I'm excellent at making sandwiches too, so that's a little bit sexist, Cammy, because you know.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. How dare you be sexist towards me? But yeah, women can't grow hair apparently. Women can't have peach fuzz on it. Some big sweaty troll monster person sitting in their apartment alone, because everyone's like, it's always their mom's basement. Not so. If you want to know where the real sweaty, horrible people on the internet are, it's a 1-bedroom apartment in Ohio or Idaho, someplace that's a bit too cold. Florida too, yeah. Some place where it's just like going outside is difficult sometimes. So really cold climates, really hot humid climates. And so they pass the time by being horrible and stupid. And maybe it started as a joke. Either way, I don't know what we ran into that thing a few months back with someone making Aloy more hotter. Do you remember that? You remember that thing?
Yes.
That might have been over the summer. That feels like years ago at this point. Things have been moving so
Don't even know
fast.
anymore.
Uh, why
It is
why Aloy
time.
though? Why Horizon? Why are they targeting? You think they target something like in terms of attacking like a lead female character in Sony's repertoire? You think they'd attack like The Last of Us or something?
They did. I
Oh,
think they
they.
attack everything, and you just remember the most recent thing, or you remember like some things are just picked up a little bit better or
You know what? I think you're.
shouted a bit louder.
I think you're right because of course, Last of Us gets consistently shit
Yeah.
on, but I think with her,
Abby especially.
yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh, I
She,
do.
she, she must be trans because she's got muscles. Women don't have those.
God forbid. Someone said that picture of the motion capture artist. She's going like this. It's like
Mm,
a back shot of her fucking ripped ass back. Like
mm,
good something to aspire to right there for anybody if you're going to the gym. And someone's
yeah.
like, "It's photoshopped. It's fake.
Can't
It's
be real.
fake."
What the fuck?
What the fuck? I don't know what it is. The Aloy ones stuck out a little bit more to me. I
I
guess
think it's
they were more cartoony
probably.
almost.
I was gonna say I think it's because the response was quite funny. Like when
Yeah.
people targeted The Last of Us, it was like, why are you targeting this female-led game? It's awesome representation, and you can't target Abby just because she's strong. Whereas when it was Aloy, it was like, quick, let's Photoshop her with makeup, and like
Yeah.
people making memes out of it. So
Like
maybe that's
that
why you
that
remember
that's
them.
like borderline comical for somebody to do. And then the Last of Us one
Yeah,
was just so it felt more spiteful, but the Horizon stuff felt more like cartoon, like Saturday morning cartoon villain. I'm gonna make.
yeah.
I don't believe women can have hair. Like that kind of person. What a mess. What a lovely mess
Oh,
though, because it reminds us
what a
that the
what a
crazy people
time
are
to be
real,
alive.
and not
They
everyone is
are.
buying into that craziness with it. But good to hear that Horizon's going well. I'm excited
Fantastic.
to give it a try when
Yeah.
PS5 finally makes it to my podunk town. My podunk town that is currently sitting at -2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh.
It's we have wind chills today of almost -30. Some citing -40 because we're also a
Mm.
very windy place up here.
We
So
uh we have a storm at the minute. I don't
hey
know if
hey
you guys
hey.
have heard. Yeah, Storm Eunice, I believe it is its name. She's a feisty bitch.
Feisty
Let me tell
storm.
you. You know the O2 in London.
Yeah, I think so.
Can you
The
picture it? The
kind
dome
on the it's on the Thames. It's on like a river
is on the
something.
Thames.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
we go. See, I remember.
there you go. Uh, the storm has like blown the roof off it,
Oh my god.
and big old trees have fallen over, and lots of like house roofs have come down. It's not good.
Yeah.
Flooding, record storms. Ooh,
Woof. Yeah, that's no
ooh.
good. You don't want none of that. None of them big windy terrible storms.
Nope, but well.
Ah well. You power
What
through.
can you do?
Rebuild your
It's the
roofs.
weather.
It was like, do you
Yeah.
remember? It was a good few years back at this point, but the Minnesota Vikings stadium in Minnesota, it snowed so much that it's a big dome. The entire top of it caved in and like filled out that entire
I did
thing.
not hear about that, but that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, it
I
was
mean, it's bad.
crazy.
It's
There's a
hilarious.
video of it online. They have like the security cameras inside because I think the building was empty. I don't think anyone got hurt or anything. Don't quote me on that, anybody. But it legitimately it's just like, and then
Even.
all of it dumps in.
Was it like, that scene in the Titanic where the glass ceiling like caves in?
Kind
That's
of,
how I'm
but colder because it's a big thing, and it looks a little bit more.
picturing.
You know how like it's like, oh my god, a rainstorm. It's like Terrence, but snowstorm. It's like, oh okay. It's like you fall down. Oh, it's snow, and you fall down. It's like cushiony, kind of. So I could
I
never
kind of get
buy like a death scene in a movie where someone like jumps off a 3-story building and lands into the snow because I'm like, oh, it's snow. But then you remember that
fine.
stuff freezes and then it becomes like concrete.
Wow. Yeah.
It's good stuff. That's a video I saw at work yesterday. A guy jumping off his car, trying to land in some snow that was like scooped up off the road. So it just turned into a big
Oh,
thing of ice, and he went like this for it and
yeah.
just like bent in half and bounced off.
Oh,
It's a great video.
take your word for it.
It's a great video. I don't know. I got cold stuff on the mind. I'm working 5 days straight. The adult shifts so that I can have a day off to play a video game. Doing adult
Mm,
things so I can afford to do non-adult things. That's 99%
mm.
of what life is. It's good
Yeah, pretty
stuff.
much.
I've got it on the brain because I got to go deal with it here in a few hours when it's supposed to get down to like -4 or -5 again.
Mm.
No good. But you know what? I got my hot coffee. It's nice
All
and
good.
filled up, and I was able to check out a couple of movies I had never seen before that we talked about one of them last week. You recommended
Oh,
it to
okay.
me. Good old Tick Tick Boom. Uh,
Yes.
it's part of the reason why I ran a little bit late today. I watched it while I
Hmm.
was filling out uh, an open note microeconomics like study guide thing, and then slowly but surely just got sucked into the movie. Less so doing the other thing at the same time. It's
Yeah, I know the feeling.
wonderful. I
Oh, I'm
loved
glad you
it.
liked it.
I
Good.
I really don't have. I just finished watching it maybe 20 minutes ago at this point, 20-30 minutes ago.
Mm,
So it's all first impression stuff right now. And I really don't have any complaints at the moment. The one thing I did notice
impressive.
was there's a scene, slight. Well, it's not even really spoilers. Andrew Garfield goes up to present his play Suburbia or
Mm.
Deburbia or whatever, and like that feeling beforehand when he's getting it all set up, that left like, oh, he's about to go on stage and present this thing. He's like about to, like that gave me like butterflies in my stomach. I was like, ooh, because I was in it just a little bit too much. I was like, oh, I know that exact feeling, and so that was odd that the movie was able to get that feeling instilled in me while I was watching it. Was not expecting that, so I love it. I also recommend it. Everybody, go check out Tick
Yeah,
Tick Boom. I was gonna
two big
do
thumbs up.
two big old ones. It was on Netflix,
Ooh,
so I was
big
like, is that Power of the Dog or Don't Look Up? I really don't
thumbs
want to watch Don't Look Up. It seems like the
up.
most just Hollywood suck its own dicky movie like out
Mm.
there. So
Yeah,
Power of
no,
the
I'm
Dog will
also
probably be
not.
up next. But I
I think
liked
that's
it.
up next for me as well. Yeah.
Hey, there you go. We'll have to talk about that next week. But there is a second one that I've seen for the first time that's a little bit more
Mm.
in high demand. I finally watched the first Harry Potter movie.
Oh no.
I did it.
No way.
Yeah. I just did
God,
it
I
like I think a little bit after. I think it might have been last Tuesday night. I
I'm gonna have
watched
to
it.
Google the first Harry Potter film because I just grew up with them, so they've all kind of merged into one for me. Like
Oh,
I
there you go. Yeah, the good old Sorcerer's Stone was the one. Gotta say,
2001.
growing
What
up
did you
in a
think?
yeah, I was born that year too, which is a little bit funky to think
Crazy.
about. Yeah, everyone's acting, doing that stuff. I was barely a babe when that film came out. But I gotta say, made me. I watched it. I loved it. Thought it
Yeah.
was great. Just a fun little whimsical thing taking place over 2 semesters. I really like that aspect of it too, which I didn't think I would
Mm.
like. I thought that would hurt the
Mm.
pacing of it, but they did a really good job with it, which is why I'm looking forward to watching the other ones now. But one thing, I
Yeah.
immediately went from joy to just anger right as I finished watching it because it clicked in
Mhm.
my head. I was like, if I saw this as a kid, I would have adored it. Like it would have sucked me up just like Lord of the Rings did. But I wasn't
Mm.
allowed to watch it, and I didn't watch it until I was 21 years of age. I'm regretful at myself for not watching it sooner in like high school, and I'm a
Mm.
little bit bitter at my parents for not for thinking that stuff would break my brain or something because it's a
Yeah.
literally just a fun little
Yeah.
adventure
It
mystery
really.
movie.
Um. Okay. Yeah. I've like briefly read the plot, and I kind of remember which one it is. Um. And also, can I just say, I think you're the first person I've ever met to like have not seen Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's
So
not very common.
it's so weird for me to hear you talking about it like a new thing, like a new film. Like
Yeah, it's
first impressions, like someone has first impressions of Harry Potter. It's not just a what? What are you
it's
talking about?
yeah, it's pretty funky. I brought it up to my friends Trevor and Katie, and
Mm,
they were both shocked and overjoyed, it seemed, that I had finally watched it, because I
yeah.
think our theater up here is showing Prisoners of Azkaban or whatever the hell it's called. I don't know which movie that is. Prisoners
Uh,
of Admiral Akbar.
yeah, we'll call it that from now on. That's my favorite one of the
Oh,
lot.
good.
So when you get to that one, you know that you're watching my favorite.
I will.
That
I'll bear that in
and
mind.
let's search the Harry Potter films. Because the first one I think is like a good bit of fun, but um I think that the ones in the middle are generally considered like the sort of the best. Or when you talk to people, most of the time they're like, "Oh, the first ones are fun because I grew up with them. The last ones are like well done, but kind of heartbreaking because people grew up with them and they're the last ones." But most of the time, the ones in the middle are the ones that people are like, "Oh, that's my favorite." So,
Oh, okay. So yeah, it looks like
um,
Azkaban, I think is how you say it,
yep,
is number 3. So
yeah.
I guess I think it leaves the theater this Friday. So maybe I'll get the gang together and be like, hey, we're gonna go do that. So I can see
Um,
that one in theaters.
you just check. I want to remember exactly. Okay, so my other favorite is Order of the Phoenix.
Okay, so that's number 5. Good, good.
Yeah. Um, Personally, my least favorite is probably the Goblet of Fire.
Okay, I've heard mixed things about the Goblet of Fire. I hear a lot of
It's
people say that one's not so hot.
it was the in-between years where they weren't children anymore, but they weren't exactly teenagers.
Oh, the middle
So they
school ages.
yeah. So it's a little bit awkward. Um And I think there's one particular moment I obviously I'm not going to spoil it for you at all, but there's one moment that's like in the books, someone is described as saying something calmly and just explaining something. And then in the film, they're really angry about it and it's kind of weird and out of character. So that gets memed a lot.
Okay.
Um, but Goblet of Fire has a good old Robert Pattinson in it. So,
Oh, good, good.
you know,
We
not
we
all
do
bad.
love him. We love him
We
here.
do.
We can forgive the those
Twilight.
horrible Twilight movies because he went on to do The Lighthouse. He went on to do
Went
Good
on to
Time,
do
and now he's.
Tenet,
Oh,
and
that's
now
right. He
he's
was in Tenet
Batman.
too. He was wonderful in Tenet.
Mm. He was the best part of Tenet, I'd say. He was
I don't. The lead was really good.
fantastic.
The I
Oh,
forget
the
who played
lead
the lead.
was
He was great.
the
But
protagonist.
he did very. Yeah, I think he is just called the protagonist.
I think our Pat's just had a little bit more humor and a bit more to play with. That's probably why I liked him more. Not that he did, not that the protagonist did any less of a good job. Just
Yeah.
the
Well,
protagonist
it's
was like confused a lot, whereas our Pats could be like, yeah, like, should we jump out of this tower? Because why not? Whatever.
yeah. He was
Reverse
nice
bungee
and
jump.
calm in
Yeah,
the
it's fine.
craziness. Which, of course, that's like the
Mm.
movie dynamic that was like it's all but guaranteed. It's like with most Christopher Nolan movies, you have your main character so you can relate to him. What's going on here? I've never seen anything like this. What? It's
Your
like,
way in character.
yeah, and I don't know. I don't love Christopher Nolan so much.
Really?
I think he's great at making really fun, engaging movies. So that's not going to sound that sounds like a very good compliment, but when you get out of a Christopher Nolan movie, you kind of once you start to think about it more, you're like, "Oh,
Oh,
okay." It's not like Michael Bay's stupid. It's like, "Oh, okay, he did a lot of stuff to make something really fun, which I totally respect, But also, when you start to think about it, it breaks down a little bit, especially with Tenet. Like, Tenet was a little bit, and
Yeah,
Interstellar, too.
I will say I think I prefer his earlier stuff. Like The Prestige, I think is my favorite film of his, and that's because it was just bordering on the line of like using time, and he was like getting to the point where studios trusted him enough to give him a decent budget, but he wasn't like so crazy with it that, you know, China had to put what level of the dream you're on in the corner of the screen.
Oh, did they really have to do that with Inception? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Inception was.
I'm sure it's China,
Oh,
but
I don't know if I've seen Inception now that I think about it. I think I've heard enough about it to like piece it together, and I can remember parts of it, like I don't know if I've actually seen all of Inception.
Inception I saw once and I was like, okay, not going to do that again, but I respect it. Respect it a lot, but ow, my brain.
Well, hey, remember,
Mm.
Christopher, I'm probably in the same camp where I really like the Prestige above
Mm.
the others. Just it will always remind me a little bit of Bioshock Infinite, where I'm just like,
Yeah.
ooh, because it's like it's time travel, dimensional stuff, but at the same
It,
time, it's like somewhat like they want to close that loop, kind of, and the
yeah.
movie does that in a satisfying way. At least I feel like, but. Keep in mind, Christopher Nolan was responsible for that god awful Superman movie, Man of Steel. Do you remember Man of Steel?
I do. I hate that film.
That is,
Was he responsible for that?
I
He
believe he
didn't direct
directed
it.
it.
No, no, he didn't direct it.
Did he not?
No.
Or was it? No, you're right. It was Zack Snyder. He helped
Yeah.
write it, though.
Yeah, I knew he had
Just
a part in it, but I knew he didn't direct it.
that's right. It was Zack Snyder. I should have known it was Zack
Oh,
Snyder because he went on to do Batman v Superman, which was
oh,
almost worse. I never that's the problem with those early DC cinematic universe movies, because I've only the DC movies I've liked are first Wonder Woman and
what?
Shazam. I liked Shazam a lot. That
Oh,
was
you're talking
fun.
about the universe.
Yeah, I like the Batman stuff. The individual Batman stuff I'll always have a soft spot for, but those are probably the two in universe. I haven't seen the new Suicide Squad yet. I've been meaning to see that because I love James
No,
Gunn.
neither have I. I haven't seen the newest Wonder Woman either, but I've heard that that is
I've
like
just heard I can't do it
an
anymore.
abomination.
Yeah, I don't have the patience. When people are like, you got to watch this Marvel thing, this new Star Wars stuff, like for the big franchises, I'm like, you have to do a lot now to get me into it.
Yeah, you do.
And the only one I think that's doing enough to really pull me in, because after I saw that clip, because I watched the back two episodes of Book of Boba Fett,
Mhm.
loved Cad Bane as we talked about last week, and didn't like you showed me that race scene, that chase scene on the Vespas. That's one of the
Yeah.
most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my entire life. That I
Mm.
was like, if you're gonna have mistakes like that, if you're gonna do something that stupid, it's a big pot of stuff to choose from. I can say, oh fuck that, I'll go to Netflix and I'll check out Midnight Mass. I'll check out any of these other shows that are going to. Midnight Mass is one I just did the first episode of recently. Love it. Really, really
Mm.
cool show. Gonna keep going on that. But you have to, especially because DC's almost completely out of my mind at this point. After Birds of Prey, after that original Suicide Squad.
Yeah. I think the only DC thing I'm particularly interested in is the Batman film coming out. But that
Yeah,
universe, I'm like, and it's not because I don't like the characters, it's just because they handle it so badly all the time.
they want to go, because I'm not in the camp of people that like hates Zack Snyder. I know a lot of people really hate how he like goes about
Mm.
directing some of those movies. But because he's done good stuff before, and I like the darker angle and things from time to time. But you have to do more than that. I feel like you
Yeah.
can't try to be you have to dedicate yourself to that darker tone. But DC executives, I think, is the real problem, where they start panicking because they immediately start comparing themselves to someone else. And if you want to ruin yourself, if you want to ruin what you're working on, start comparing yourself to everyone around you. It's fine to take inspiration. Never fucking compare yourself to everyone around you. Because it's very rare. As someone that works on music, if you start comparing yourself to people around you, it's very rare that you will be top of the food chain, like in terms of those things. So you start to get a little bit discouraged, like even after watching Tick Tick Boom, and just hearing some of those musical numbers and being like, that's some good shit, and just being like, I can't do anything compared to that. Forget about the comparison. Just go in from an inspiration standpoint and do the best that you can do and be happy with it. And that's DC's main problem, is they tried to become Marvel, and Justice League was fucking horrible. And Batman v Superman was fucking horrible. The Martha scene.
Batman vs Superman was worse, I think, purely for the Martha scene.
The Martha scene was bad.
Embarrassing. Martha.
Why did you say that name? Why did you say
his name?
That was, I heard someone joking about that. They were like, what if the bad guy in Justice League, the way they stopped him was by saying Martha? Why'd you say that name? That's also my mother's name. And that's what resolves that issue. I don't want to take over the universe anymore. Imagine if they stopped Thanos by saying his mom's name. Like they say Gamora or something, like something close to him. Why'd you say it? Like, that is the stupidest thing I think I've ever heard.
Isn't he in love with... He's in love with Death, isn't he, in the comics? Lady Death?
Yeah.
So... Can you imagine if someone like brought up Death and he was like,
why did you say that name?
Yeah.
Spider-Man's dead. How'd you know that? Did she tell you? Like, that would... How embarrassing. I don't remember who... I can look up who wrote it real quick. For Batman v Superman.
Oh.
Dawn of Justice. I'm sorry, I forgot about the subtitle in it. Dawn of Justice. I also
forgot that it even had one. I googled it like 2 minutes ago. I forgot. But it's just that memorable.
Oh, is this the guy? The Goyer sounds familiar. Did he write... So he wrote for Blade. His name sounds super familiar. Batman Begins. Doesn't look like an awful track record. Chris Terrio's the other fellow who wrote it. Because direction aside, because people like some of that Zack Snyder stuff, writing, I think, was the main issue with that movie, as we've already said. Oh, he's got a credit on Justice League, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. He's got a credit on Argo. Who knows? Who cares? They did something fucking terrible, and I never want to... It's completely ruined it for me to where I never want to rewatch it again. With Marvel stuff, you hear people like rewatching it in preparation for the new movies. Rewatching... Like, rewatching Batman v Superman and Man of Steel and stuff in preparation for the next movie sounds like I'd rather like stab my hand over and over again than do that. That sound, because they're 3 hours of just boring nothingness.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I'm just Googling something because so this is something I randomly saw the other week. You might already know it. I don't know. You know, if I say Rian Johnson to you, you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I do, yep. Writer-director of the second new Star Wars movie. Star Wars The Stinkmaster, or whatever it was called. What was the second one called? And, well, Knives Out, too, which I've had strong feelings about Knives Out, but I've slowly but surely grown to love it.
Well, first off, I'm glad that you're going to love it. And yeah, he did Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Is that what it was called?
Apparently. So says Wikipedia. Point is, he has a hit and miss track record when it comes to films. I did not realise the man directed Breaking Bad Ozymandias.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I randomly came across that the other day and I was like, holy fucking shit.
Well, what do you know? That's great. Well, that is a wonderful, if not one, I think it's your favorite. It's my second favorite.
It's my favorite, yeah. He directed the Fly episode.
That's one of my favorite episodes.
an episode called 51, which uh just skimming through. Um,
Is it the one where Walter White clones himself? And there's
yeah.
51 Walter Whites. Jesse, now we can run 51 labs across all 51
Um,
U.S. states. But Mr.
it's the
White, there's
one.
only 50. And then he has to fight the 51st Walter White and stop him.
Uh, I mean, you're not too far off. It's the one where he turns 51.
Oh, great title.
Yeah. Mm,
That's a fine
really
episode.
to the point. But yeah, so like he directed some of the best episodes of Breaking Bad and somehow also directed Star Wars The Last Jedi
Well, that's the thing
and
with
wrote.
yeah. Well, that's the thing with TV directing credits. As much as I want to like credit where credit is due to Rian Johnson, he gets a little bit of praise for being on those two projects, but absolutely, most of the praise probably goes to Vince Gilligan and the
um
actors and the other writing staff that helped. Like, because you see like
yeah.
clips of Vince Gilligan working on stuff, and he did 22 takes of that the wheelchair scene, if you know which one I'm talking about at the end of season 4.
Which one?
Like he did a bunch of takes of that. Yeah. And so it's like I
Mm,
credit where credit is due, but he's not perfect, I guess is what we're trying to say.
yeah. He when it comes to Breaking Bad, it's not like he's the director and therefore all credit goes to him. It was more like I was just surprised he had a hand in my favorite Breaking Bad episode. And also that Star Wars film.
That Star Wars film. You know what I
That,
was this is a little bit off topic, but just speaking of like that time for movies, because I think the last
mm,
Star Wars movie came out in 2019, I think. If I had to take a guess,
really?
probably 2019, right before the
I'll
pandemic,
Google.
because I think it got nominated for an Oscar alongside the same year as like the Joaquin Phoenix thing, which got my brain thinking about Joker, that movie.
Yeah, you are right, by the way. 2019.
Good, good. Have you
Mhm.
rewatched Joker recently?
Um, Not recently, but I think I watched some clips of it recently or something. Or I saw someone talking about it recently. But it's still pretty fresh in my brain.
Okay,
Yeah.
I am. I'm thinking of going back to it and watching it one more time
Ooh.
because when I first saw it, I loved it, and
Mm.
now the more I think about it, the more I'm just embarrassed at some of the things they put in that movie. Because one instance will pop into my brain because I get Joaquin Phoenix's performance. I remember being really solid. I remember the
Yeah.
direction all being pretty dang good. It was a nice
Yeah.
light deviation from all the stupid DC stuff with big explosions, smaller, more focused character story. But I slight spoilers for Joker. Everyone knows the scene. The you get me a fucking deserve that scene. I remember
Yeah.
also in that same scene, he tells like he's like an edgy middle schooler, like an edgy 12 or 13-year-old. And that's all I can think about now whenever I go back to that because he tells a joke. He tells a
Oh,
joke
God.
that I remember telling when I was in middle school and all my friends remember telling. He tells the joke where he's like, knock, knock, who's there? It's the police. Your whole family died in a car crash. That's like an anti joke from like my middle school days when I was like 12 or 13. And now that I've thought about that, his entire performance is just because he does kind of act childish at times, especially when he's on the talk show. He's like, "Well, you didn't, whatever," and he's like, "Yeah, you fucking deserve." Like, that's all I can think of now, and I want to rewatch the movie with that thought in my mind and make sure that it's just like a fluke thing, because I think it will be, but I can't get the thought out of my brain, so I think I need to go back to it.
I think it's I get what you're saying because it is he does act childish sometimes. I think that the explanation is that he had a head injury. Bleh, that I didn't say that properly. Head injury when he was a child, and that's stunted him a little bit. So I think. there's an explanation for it. It's how much do you want to like lean into that explanation?
I mean, I'm fine with. I'm sure there is an explanation for it. Like now, I can kind of
Mm,
remember that. But at the same
yeah,
time, playing that character that way just
it's a
comes.
choice.
Yeah, it comes across so embarrassing. It's like because you had that trend for so long of like, remember? Do you remember Joker quotes? That cringe trend where it's like, my favorite one, my favorite Joker quote when that was a trend back in like 2019. It's a picture of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker with a cigarette, and it says, 9 out of 10 boys are having a girlfriend. 1 out of 10 boys are have a brain. And that's what it says. And it was on Facebook and had like a bunch of likes and a bunch of people were like, this is great. Like it was the most embarrassing thing ever. And then I was like, now that it's been a couple of years, I'm looking at it from the outside and I'm not just laughing at some embarrassing stuff that, middle schoolers were posting on the internet that was getting shared with me. I was like, oh, but that came from that place, the way he played it, sort of. And now it's ingrained in my brain, that performance where he's really childish. He reminds me of like an angsty eighth grader, and I don't
I
know.
think I know where you're coming from. I think it is that he had a brain injury and it stunted him. His abuse really affected him. And I think you're supposed to feel like bad for him because he's not like he's struggling and everyone's just laughing at him, and you're supposed to feel like, you know,
You're supposed to be a
I don't want
little
to say,
sympathetic while also being like,
yeah,
he's a bad guy, but you can see where he's coming from, which is the whole point of. That's like Taxi Driver, which
yeah,
much better movie in comparison after I watched it, which kind of hurt
mm,
my experience. Well, it didn't hurt my experience with Joker as much because I still thought Joker was good. But after seeing Taxi Driver, you can see the clear lines they were doing, and that movie's just such a nice, dirty Scorsese movie where it's in New York in like the late 70s, early 80s, or whatever. So that's the feeling they were going for, but they couldn't capture it
mm,
quite as well. So I don't know. I think I
yeah,
just
it was,
need to rewatch it before I say anything more on it
yeah,
for fairness sakes to the many big fans of the Joker out there.
yeah. I will say I am probably am a big fan of the Joker. I've seen it twice. I've thought about it a lot since. I do think it's a really good film. I do think it's a really good performance. But yeah, maybe watching it again because like the last time I watched it was 2020, so
Okay, so
20
almost could be two
like two
years.
years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. So maybe if I watched it again, I would pick up on some different things, but I
yeah.
really like it.
I think I'd have to go, but because now that we're talking about it again, some scenes are coming back into my brain. Like
Mm,
I really like the portion where he's in his apartment. He's about to go out. I think he's about to go out for the interview. Like right before that, and the little person clown comes in after, and he realizes.
yeah.
Like I remember that scene being like, "Whew, that was a
Intense.
really yeah, that was really well executed." And so was then there was that one scene with the girl who lives across from in his
Yeah.
apartment complex. I remember that being edited not so great because they had to add flashbacks because they didn't think people
It was
could
a bit
realize,
choppy.
yeah, what
Yeah.
was going on in that scene.
Yeah. Um,
But I remember liking it. It was nice and tense. It was a tense moment.
yeah. I think the last 10 minutes probably my favorite. But I also really like the scene where he um got the information about his past. I thought that like reveal was good. I don't remember how it was
Yeah,
edited. It might have been edited badly and choppy as
I
well.
think
But
it
I
was literally just that flashback segment that I remember having a problem with the editing,
yeah,
and it wasn't
but
even in
I
bad
remember being
editing. It
like,
was just, why the fuck would you have a flashback? We're watching the movie. We
you
just saw
could have
that
fixed that.
happen. Yeah,
Joker. It was a good film. I
Okay.
liked it.
I have fond memories of it because that was that whole summer leading into the fall, all those movies. It was the first year I had seen every single Best Picture nominee and every single, uh, basically every movie that was nominated for something I had seen,
Mm.
except for like the documentaries. So I felt
I think
accomplished and snobbish by the end of it.
that you could watch the Oscars and actually have a true opinion and
Yeah,
not be like, well, I haven't seen that one.
yeah, it's fun to be like, oh yeah, this, that, you're not guessing on things or being like, okay, I can see that. It's nice to
Yeah.
have been able to experience all of that. And hopefully I can get to that point this year, but I'm really, really sick of the full of themselves speeches and stuff. I just don't care.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
think
most horrible thing to sit through.
I because obviously time difference for me, the Oscars starts at like midnight and then goes on for till like 4 in the morning. So I always watch it the day after, so I have the luxury of like fast forwarding through all of the awful cringeworthy bits. Um, I think my favorite Oscar speech ever is Olivia Colman's though. That was truly like so British. I loved it.
I don't
Do you
think
remember it?
no, I don't remember that one.
Fantastic. She gets really awkward about speaking in public,
Oh,
and
okay.
she gets very like flappy and British about it, and like the music started coming on and she like blew a raspberry. She was like, shut up. And she carried on with her speech while the music was going, and she started thanking people and saw Lady Gaga was in the audience. She was like, "It's Lady Gaga," and then carried on, and it was very endearing and like
Oh, well, that's nice.
not a a political preach, which is what a lot of them try and do, which I think then gets a bit eh.
Well, it's especially rough when multimillionaires are
Mm,
preaching about stuff that they're mainly contributing to. Like that was the big deal when Leo won for The Revenant, which after watching The
yeah,
Revenant, it's a fine movie. Leo does
fine.
does all right in it. I remember I liked someone else better that year for the award, but I can't remember who it was. It's not important. But at that speech, and it's like, okay, yeah, climate change, yeah, but you're a millionaire. You have a private jet, dozens of cars.
Mm,
You're doing all this shit, and it's like you can. I mean, practice what you preach, man. You know, maybe sell off the
I
private jet or whatever. That was a big deal, the private jet thing.
yeah. Well, that and we're going really off topic, but have you heard the thing about Leo's girlfriends?
No,
He never dates anyone over 25.
over 20. Oh no, Leo,
Yeah,
Leo, you
there's a
disgusting
beautiful
pervert.
graph, and they get to 25, and it's like, nope. I think maybe only two have reached 25.
Well, they say
Mm.
that's a sign of a very healthy brain.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yes,
do believe
dating
I
people.
I believe I read that in Real Science magazine. I believe
Oh,
that's where
science
that figure
is
comes
just
from.
science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Leo. Well, he was a part of the Pussy Posse back in the day. Do you remember that? He had like
No.
I think Toby Maguire was in it. Like his
Well, I know him and Toby Maguire are like best friends, so
yeah,
probably.
they were it was like it was a thing for a while. It was like all the tabloids were like, yeah, the Pussy Posse's going to the club or whatever. It's like, Leo, mother pregnant with another Leo? Like, it's just all that garbage. I remember that vaguely. I don't think I was cognitive like when it was going on. I think I just
Mhm.
heard about it somewhere. So it does not surprise me that he would be a shallow dumpster person in that regard. But hey, not everyone can
Look,
be Bryan Cranston.
no. Oh, love him.
I love him. Love him so much.
Um, I think it's safe to say, I mean, we haven't seen everything yet. but I think you and I would both be very happy if Andrew Garfield won Best Actor this year.
Yes. Very happy.
Yeah,
I'd be overjoyed
I
if he
feel
won
like
Best Actor.
he would give a good speech as well.
Yeah, I think so, especially with a role like that. For a
So
movie
yeah.
that's so because it's focused I think it has a good chance. I think he has a good chance because it didn't get nominated for Best Picture, I don't think, which is a travesty that happened.
I
But
don't remember.
I think it was just Best Actor and Best Editing, which editing in the movie, it's great across the board. Having just watched it, I didn't have a problem really with any of it. The way they like spin through scenes and are switching back
Mm,
and forth during these dream sequences or whatever. Uh, but I don't know. It's a movie that hopefully the Academy would like because they love stuff that's within the industry or
I
about the
do.
industry because they love just sucking their own,
Mhm.
just taking it in
Oh
as
yeah.
much as they can. You wrote a
They
movie
also
about Texas? What? Fuck that. This one's about Los Angeles
us.
County. Yeah.
They also really like it when an actor or actress either suffers by losing a considerable amount of weight or going through something awful. Like they freaking love that. And they also seem to really like it when an actor genuinely learns something new. So the fact that Andrew Garfield learnt to sing for the role and then did a good job, I think might boost his chances a little bit.
Hopefully. And they love Lin-Manuel Miranda. I love Lin-Manuel Miranda. I can't
Yeah,
say
I like him
they.
as well.
I'm a massive fan of almost everything he's done since I found out about him in like 2015, 2016 or whatever.
Mm.
So yeah, I think we'd both be very happy to see that. We got a good few more
Yeah.
movies to work through. I know this is the Gods of Gaming podcast, but
Oh,
we uh we
oh,
we got
uh,
through a lot of our gaming topics on the It's the Lag show this week, which is why this
we
one's a little
did.
bit more movie focused.
And I mean, it's a big like couple of weeks for games, but also we can't talk about Elden Ring because we haven't got it yet.
Yeah, a couple of days still before that happens.
And we can't really talk about Horizon because it's so early. It's not fair to assume that people have like that everyone's got their hands on it and everyone's as far through it as I am. You obviously haven't played it yet, but like
Yeah.
it's like unfair, I think, to start going into any sort of detail when it's only been out like what, 4 days,
Yeah,
5 days.
we're still getting the footing right on it. If you've made it this far and you're horribly pissed off that we didn't talk about more games, sorry. We'll talk a little bit more next time, maybe. But
Howie.
we're here to chat and have a good time. Just kind of go over what's going on, and of course,
Just
it's a
because we are gods of gaming doesn't mean we always game,
that's
you
right.
know?
God takes a break sometime. Have you heard of other countries?
And like
He
literally
skips over those from time to times. You think God's looking
Sunday.
at Antarctica right now? He doesn't give a fuck. There's penguins or whatever. That's what I'm saying.
Whenever I think of a penguin, I always think of that gif of that penguin slapping the other one, making it fall over.
That is a
Oh,
good gif. That is
that's
an
a great gif.
excellent image of penguins. I do
Sassy,
love penguins.
sassy penguins.
I've
Love them.
always wanted to eat a penguin, but they eat too much fish. That's the problem. They get too much magnesium or whatever, magnesium or mercury, whichever chemical
It's a
element.
really weird thing to think about.
I've thought about it like a month ago at work, and I was like, could you eat a
Mm.
penguin? Because then we could just send a bunch of people up to Antarctica and like colonize
Aren't
it.
penguins endangered or at risk of being endangered?
If we start eating them, definitely. But that's the thing, we can't eat them.
Lucky penguins.
Lucky old
Lucky
penguins.
penguins.
My
They
favorite
have nothing
penguin,
for it.
of course, is Shia LaBeouf penguin from Surf's Up. That is a
Okay.
that is a 10 out of 10 penguin.
I like the one from Madagascar that says "Smile and wave, boys, smile and wave."
Good. That's it. Jeff Bridges penguin, also from Surf's Up. That's a good penguin.
Uh-huh. What other penguins are there?
There's the Happy Feet one. I never saw Happy Feet. My
It's it. I
wasn't good.
remember seeing it as a kid. I think it made me cry.
Oh, good. That's the sign of a great movie. That's my favorite thing from the new Ghostbusters movie. There's like the Bill Murray on like I almost said Jay Leno. Whoops, I couldn't even get his name right. Jay Leno's not doing so much stuff anymore. Whatever the new guy's name is, Jimmy Fallon. He's on Jimmy Fallon. And he's like, well, a lot of people have said that the ending of the movie made him cry, so it'll probably be a very successful comedy film. And I was like, that I think sums up all of this gushy nostalgia stuff that's getting pumped out, where it's just like you've lost the essence of why people liked it, and are just being like, look at this thing from your childhood, 40-year-old people, 30-year-old people. I remember that. It's gonna be us. We're gonna get remakes of. They're gonna do a live action remake of Arcane or BoJack in like 20, 30 years.
Live action BoJack.
Yeah, and it's gonna be they're gonna be like there's gonna be Easter eggs with like horses, and they use all that symbolism still, and we're gonna be like, wow, I remember that, and it's gonna be fucking terrible, and we'll be under its spell, and there's nothing we can do, or maybe we won't be under its spell, but I guess we'll see. And I guess we'll see you all next time on the Gods of Gaming podcast, where we'll hopefully talk about a little bit more games. We're going through BioShock right now, so we'll have some BioShock talk for you guys coming up here soon, along with the Elden Ring talk, Horizon talk, and yep, you guessed it, those Mario Brothers is coming back.
Oh, slight tangent. Just to end off, I was watching a quiz show in the UK called The Wheel, and the topic was gaming, and the question was, what is Mario's brother Luigi's hat color? And they guessed wrong, and I've never been so disappointed in humanity in my entire life.
Yeah, you have to be a fucking idiot not to know his hat's gray or whatever.
They said yellow.
Oof. That's Wario.
They were so sure it wasn't green. It was like the first. It was multiple choice. And
what?
green was the first. Yeah, the green was the first one they said no to. Oh, it was. It was really bad.
Fuck people, man. Fuck them. You know. Well, we'll see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.